Hey, this is Ty with the 2023 Belay Bulletin. As you evolve in your belay career, you will be invited to belay national and championship events. Here's some of the things we're looking for. It begins at tie-in. Let the athlete see you set your rig while you're watching them tie into their harness. This is a soft drape. We will discuss the use of a soft drape later. Again, let them watch you clip in. Show them that you're on the right side. Show them that your carabiner has locked. I usually say, "Hello, my name is Ty. I will belay you today. Your knot looks good. Your harness looks good." We typically use hand signals across two planes, vertically for knot, horizontally for harness. Show your system. So I say, your knot looks good, your harness looks good. Here's how I'm set. When the judges are ready, I will walk you out to the field of play. Say the same thing to every athlete. That way there's never any hint of bias or perception of favoritism. Show your system, courtesy pull on the carabiner, check their knot, check their harness, take them out to the field of play. Non-negotiable, 100% buddy check 100% of the time. Whether you're setting up on their left or whether you're setting up on their right, you should begin the climb in the direction of their first clip. If they're clipping with their right hand first, set up on the right. Clipping with their left hand, set up on the left. There are exceptions, and if you're working with a partner, suss it out and think about what you want as the same experience for every climber. First few clips, give slack as needed. You should use footwork, you should move. Your break hand will always remain in a down position. We typically set our rope away from the wall. That gives us room to work. What is that work? That work is footwork. To give a few extra feet, you take a step in. To take quickly, you take a step back. You should never be a stationary object on the field of play. Rope management means keeping the rope where it's not going to be a hazard to the climber or you. That's away from the feet. Notice our baskets are set up behind us to our dominant hand side or against the wall to our dominant hand side. Once an athlete is several clips up, we pre-position the rope. Pre-positioning is the rope between the break hand and the ATC. Your hands remain soft, your feet remain mobile, and your break hand remains steady and in a downward position. Once the athlete is high enough, you can show your slack. Showing your slack is that little bend in the guide hand side of the rope. If there's an appeal for a short, that little bend, showing your rope will disprove it. What goes up must come down. Catches. Catch to the very best of your ability and to your experience. You should practice hundreds of times before you can catch like your TV belayer. What you want to do is you catch the climber as softly as you can, whether you need to jump into it or whether you need to use some dynamic rope control. Once all hazards are cleared, show a stop. That is, bring your athlete to a complete stop before bringing it to the ground. We call that safe stop. If someone needs help with their knot, go ahead and help them. Ask them first, or they can ask you. Don't just go grabbing. Always do it in a kneeling position where everyone can see what you're doing in the harness region. When you're pulling rope, pull from the climber's side. That way you're using the alternate ends of the rope for each climb. Look around, call rope, pull that rope down. Okay, I know that was a lot, so here's a quick review. Steve has already introduced himself. Hello, my name is Steve. I will belay you today. He showed his side of the rig. He's checking the harness and the knot using the up and down and side to side motions. He's blessing that knot. When judges are ready, the belayer will take the climber to their climb. In this case, the climber will be clipping to the climber's right for the first clip. The belayer is safely out of the way. We typically do not spot for competition rock climbing. Steve's already controlling his rope. He has that soft drape. That soft drape just pulls right out of his hand. We used to use loops until hard climbing athletes started pulling so quickly that you could have a situation where you are trapped in that loop. Pulls right out. Steve's ready. He's attentive. He walked to the wall. Steve stays close to the wall to keep the rope out of the athlete's feet and the fall zones clear. Steve's rope bag is away from the action so he can walk around. He pins the rope to keep the rope out of the athlete's feet. Oh, here's me. If your athlete falls or if they reach the top, you catch them gently, you lower them slowly. You show a stop and then bring them to the ground. If a climber tops, we typically do not take. We let them fall into 4 to 6 feet of rope. That way there's no ambiguity whether it was a top. Once they're on the ground, we give a couple pulls of courtesy slack and turn them over to the judges and stagers. Safety, consistency, professionalism. These are the core principles of the USA Climbing Belaying program. Reach out with questions or comments to belaying@usaclimbing.org. Once again, this is Ty, your National Belay Coordinator. Then we do it again.